Hello guys, welcome back to the Lumley trading video. In this one we are going to be doing some in-depth stock analysis over on HKD. Now again, this was one of those massive movers before. Again, if we pull down this chart, again it's quite clear to see, you saw it go from, say $20 all the way to $2,500. Obviously it's had small moves in between, but it is starting to slow down a bit more. So kind of what are those key levels? So again, this is I think 90-day chart, 90 days. And again, those are still big moves, 300% moves, and you can't even see it on those longer time charts. So how do we find levels and everything for this HKD, and kind of where would we be looking to trade it? So again, a stock like this, unless you're maybe buying it at those lows and just kind of holding it and in anticipation of a massive move, that's maybe one way to do it. But again, that is a lot more of a gamble. There is no really reason to be buying it. It's just in anticipation of a big move. So one of the ways I would look to do it is through standard deviation channels. Now the problem with this is you can only go short bias. Or really the only way we looked at it was short bias. Now the problem with HKD is there are no options available, so it can make this quite difficult to trade. But just to quickly note the levels, then we do have that $115. Obviously from $8 to $115, very far off. Well, we're not going to hit that, or probably not going to hit that. So if we do come to that level, obviously I'll be looking at it short bias. Our shares going to be available to short. Who knows really? So one way we can look to do this and kind of find closer levels is actually by looking at a stock that moves very similar. So obviously we know HKD is the ticker, and that's for AMTD Digital, but the actual ticker AMTD does move quite similar. And again, I think a lot of this was from the confusion of obviously when we had this massive moves. I think people were looking at HKD to trade, but obviously they heard the company was called AMTD, and so then they end up trading the ticker AMTD, which I think was the big confusion to this. But even now they do trade quite similar. But the good thing on AMTD is it does trade a bit more reasonable and a bit closer to the standard deviation channel, so it does provide a bit more opportunities, and this can help us maybe potentially catch trends on HKD. So what I would be looking, even if you're trading HKD, as I would be looking at AMTD. So we can see 218 and 215. This is our first deviation on both the 6 month and the 1 year. So coming into this level, the first time we hit this, expecting a pullback. And again, considering HKD's trades the same, if it's coming into the level on AMTD, you can still trade it or potentially trade it over on HKD, because again, it should trade quite similar. So we'll be looking for a pullback into this level. But again, our share is going to be available to short. We don't really know. Again, and even if they are, they might be very expensive to locate, so it might not even make sense to do it. But another way to potentially do it is then catching the trend. Again, on HKD, to catch the trend, we need it to go above $115, very far off, probably not all that unlikely. But we only really need it to move 100% on AMTD to become to that kind of level. So at around 218, if we can break above this level on AMTD, pull back to test it as a support and it can hold, then again, it is a lot more likely that we can continue to trend them from that level, and we'd be having targets around 280 to 309. So what that really means is, again, you could be watching this on HKD. So what we'll quickly do is change this to HKD. Is again, really just watching. You can be watching the chart of HKD, but it's trading off the chart of AMTD. So again, if we can break this 220, come back to test it as a support and it can hold, then again, even if we were say at $15 on HKD, to me that could be a potential trend. If it can hold again on AMTD, grab that long, and then again looking to make that move to around 280 on AMTD as we come into there. Again, then locking profits on HKD depending on where its price is. So again, that's really how I'd be looking at HKD, just looking at doing analysis over on AMTD. Again, if you're using some sort of technical, like if you're using standard deviations, that makes more sense. Obviously, if you're trading off pure technical patterns or something, then obviously HKD will be the way to go. But really then, those are the main levels I'm looking at on AMTD. Again, if we did break that 310, I'll be looking at $4. We also actually have one at 345 and 490. So those would be the key levels. Again, each time we break it, they're always, really, it's just looking for the same pattern, whether we're looking at small or large cap. First time we come into a level, looking to hit it and pull back. So again, that's the way I'd play it. If there's shares available to short, play the pullback. If there isn't, waiting for that break, come back to test it as a support, and if it can hold, then looking to play the trend to that next level, which in this case would be 280. And again, I would just be looking to potentially play that same pattern into each of these levels. But again, probably not something I'm going to trade myself. I don't really like small cap stocks. I don't trade them all that much. So again, probably something I'll stay away from, but it's more just something I notice on how, if you want to use standard deviation channels to still trade HKD. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, why not drop a like and subscribe and check out this analysis video.